this video, you'll be watching an excerpt from our AutoCAD Level 2 class. The topic we are covering is annotative text. Annotative text automatically changes size depending on the scale of your viewport. Standard text height on a piece of paper should equal 0.125 inches, or an eighth of an inch tall in paper space. This text height will be multiplied by your viewport scale to display correctly in model space. There are 3 annotative buttons at your status bar. I'll be discussing when and how to use these buttons. All right, so it's obvious that we have 3 different scales. And when you look at what's inside the viewport, the text in this viewport looks small. The text in this viewport looks really big. And the text in this viewport is like a medium size. If we go into the model tab, all the text was created the same size in model space, but because of those different scales, they look different in paper space. So really what we want is opposite. I want everything to look the same size in paper space. This is what I'm going to print and submit. I want it to look nice and uniform in paper space. I don't really care what it looks like in model space. No one's ever going to see this. Just your own company will see this, right? So we want the sheet to look good. So we're going to talk about annotative text that will have all of these pieces of text automatically adjust according to the scale of the viewport. So that is this one here. So I'll read this first. Annotative text automatically change size depending on the scale of the viewport. We want text to print at 0.125 inches tall on paper, or eighth of an inch tall on paper. This text height will be multiplied by our viewport scale to display correctly in model space. And then I had this little screenshot of some buttons that are important for this lesson. There should be 1, 2, 3 when you're in model space, but it looks like only 2 in paper space for right now. I put a red box around this because this symbol goes along with the scale. It's not really a button. It's just saying that this scale is an annotative scale. Okay, so I'll explain it now, but then it won't really make sense until we actually do it. So once we go through the steps, then hopefully these buttons will make some more sense. Okay, so the first one here, this symbol, when it's blue, it's on. When it's gray, it's off. We recommend to keep it on in model space and off in paper space. So the reason for that, this button, when it's on, it means show all the text. I don't care what size the text is, just show me the text. And so in model space, we want to see all of the text. We want to be able to find it, right? We don't want it to disappear on us. So model space, you keep it on. In paper space, we only want to show the text that is the correct size. That's eighth of an inch tall. We want to hide any text that might be too big or too small. So we want to keep it off in paper space. So it will only show text that is the correct size. So again, this may or may not make sense until we actually do it. Second button. So again, blue is on, gray is off. And here's the recommendation. Only turn it on if you want to add a scale to all the text. So this button, when it's on, if you change your scale, it will add a new size of text to all the text in your drawing. So if you keep this on all the time and you change the scale all the time, you're going to constantly add more and more sizes to your text. And you don't really want that. You only want specific sizes. So turn it on if you want to add a size, turn it off after that. And then again, this is just the annotative scale. You've seen this before in model space and paper space. This will affect your text size. Okay. So typically, if you're using annotative objects, the best method is to set up the annotative style first, then create your annotative objects through the viewport. That way, it will automatically pick up the correct scale. However, we're going to do things a little bit backwards for this lesson just so I can teach you stuff. Then on the next lesson, which is going to be dimensions, we'll do it the correct way. Okay, so just keep in mind, it's going to be a little bit more steps just because I'm teaching it to you kind of backwards. So let's go into model space. CAD Masters offers online and classroom training for a variety of Autodesk software. For more information, go to www.cadmasters.com or give us a call at 925-939-1378. In model space, if you select a piece of text and you go to properties, you'll see that it is just regular M text. And then you'll see that the style we're using is ArchDim. So this ArchDim style controls the font, controls the text size. Right now we have a text height of 1 foot. And so this text height of 1 foot in model space is showing up at different sizes in paper space, right? So we want to change this. We want to turn this regular text into annotative text. Yesterday, our entire lesson, we kept annotative set to no. But today we're going to end up having this say yes, and then we'll talk about all the different settings. So to get that done, let's go to Annotate tab of the ribbon in this text panel. Let's click the drop down at the top. So it currently says ArchDim. And let's go to Manage Text Styles. So in here, I don't want to make a huge change. I want to still have the same font. So what I'll do is keep the ArchDim selected on the left and then click New. So what that does, it'll copy all the settings from ArchDim. And for the name of this new style, we'll still call it ArchDim. But I will put another dash and I will put the word anno or the abbreviation anno at the end. So we know this is an annotative style. So ArchDim anno. Click OK. So it's created this new style, ArchDim anno. Make sure it's selected. It has the same font as before. But instead of specifying a height, I'm going to check mark annotative. When I check mark annotative, notice this symbol is in front of that style. So that lets me know that this is a special style, an annotative style. When you have it selected as annotative, it doesn't say text height anymore. It says paper text height. So we're not specifying a model space height. We're specifying how big we want it to be when we print it. So I want it to be 0.125, enter. It'll convert it to 1/8 of an inch because we're in architectural units. Okay, so pretty much that's all we want. I'm keeping all the same settings. I just made it annotative and I'm specifying a paper height. Right, so go ahead and select it and set it current. But doing this, setting it current, will only affect brand new text that we make. It will not affect the text we already have. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'm setting it current, but that just affects anything new that we create. Close this window. So setting it current shows ArchDim anno up here at the top, but all of this is still regular text. So to switch it over, I want to select one piece, select similar, and then use properties to change the style. Or I could use this drop down to change the style. But before doing that, I want to make sure my scale is set to something I actually want. If I leave it at 1:1, it will create brand new text that is super tiny because 1 times 0.125 is 0.125, right? It'll be really, really small. So I need to pick a scale that I actually want to be using from sheet 1. Let's start with the 1/8 scale. So I'm going to switch in model space to 1/8 inch equals a foot. Once I have my 1/8 inch equals a foot selected, then I'm ready to convert these over. Select one piece of text, right click, select similar, Once they are all selected, you have an option to switch it at the ribbon, or you have an option to switch it in properties. So I'll use properties. I'll go to my text style and I'll pick Archdim Anno. And then I'll hit escape. So you'll see that they don't look very different. They look pretty similar to what they did before. But if you hover your cursor over a piece of text, that annotative symbol is on your cursor. So that's one hint that this is an annotative piece of text. Another way to figure that out is if you select it and you look at properties, our style has that symbol. And also annotative is set to yes. So people who are not very familiar with annotative text, sometimes they're like, oh, my text disappeared, what happened? So when we do the tech support calls, we check here. We're like, okay, I see that it's annotative, and then we go from there. Okay, so let's take a look what happens in Paperspace. Go over to sheet 1. So what you should notice is at the 1/8 inch scale, we see all of the text. It looks really good. But at the 1/4 inch scale and the 3/16 inch scale, the text is missing. And that's because of that very first button that I was talking about. So in model, down at the bottom of your screen, this first button is blue. So that means always show the text, no matter what size. But in sheet 1, that same button is gray, it's off. And so that says, don't show it unless it's the correct size, right? If I turn the button on, notice I see all the text, but it's not the correct size. So I want to keep that off. I only see it here and not in these viewports. So now our next step is, how do we get it to show up in this viewport? We want it to show up, but we want it to be the correct size. So this one is the master bedroom, and then those two things over there, probably the bathroom and the closet. So we're going to focus on that. This is a 1/4 scale. Let's go into model. So right here, select those 3 pieces of text. I want to add a 1/4 scale to those pieces. It can be done through properties. So go ahead and open properties. In properties, you'll see annotative scale is 1/8 inch. If you go to the right, there's a little button. When you click on the button, you'll see 1/8 inch is already applied to these pieces. We want to add an additional scale. So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to use 1/4. And so you can have multiple scales on these pieces of text. If you don't want multiple, you can also delete a scale, but I do want to keep both in this case. Click OK. So once you've added the 1/4 scale, you're still keeping the 1/8. I want to show you what that looks like here. So I hover my cursor over the master bedroom text. My cursor now has 2 annotative symbols. So that means I have 2 or more scales on this text. When I click on it, notice there's actually 2 pieces of text there. One is being hidden. When I hit escape, we only see the 1/8 text. If I go to my status bar down at the bottom and I switch my scale from 1/8 to 1/4, notice how it shrinks down. These 3 are showing the 1/4 size, but the rest don't have 1/4, so it's just showing the 1/8. Keeping this button blue says show it no matter what. But if I have an appropriate size, when I switch this, it will show the correct size. Okay. So now let's go into Paperspace. You'll see that it shows the text in the 1/4 scale, the 1/8 scale, and if you look closely, they are the same size in Paperspace. Obviously, they were different in model space, but in Paperspace, they look the same. Cool. Back to model. We still need to add a scale to these, where we need to add the 3/16 scale, but I'm going to show you a different method. So this time, let's say I want to add 3/16 to everything. If I want to add a scale to every piece of text, down at the bottom, click the annotative symbol that has a lightning bolt. When that is blue and I change my scale, it will add that scale to all the text. So be careful, don't mess around with it too much, but you want to pick 3/16 inch equals a foot. You should see all the text change size. And now turn the lightning bolt button off. We don't want to add anything else. Okay, so if we go back to paper, sheet 1, all viewports have text, and all viewports text looks the same size. They're all printing on paper 1/8 of an inch tall. So let's save that. If you use Civil 3D, all Civil 3D labels are annotative. You don't have to do all these steps. They're just automatically annotative. But if it comes to AutoCAD text, then yes, you have some steps to set it up. Okay. CAD Masters offers online and classroom training for a variety of Autodesk software. For more information, go to www.cadmasters.com or give us a call at 925-939-1378. So we know what the first 2 buttons do. This is show it always when it's on. This is create a new size if you change that scale. And then again, this is not really a button. It's just saying that the scale is annotative, right? So you've seen those 3 buttons. Now I want to talk about the move and rotate command. If you use the move command on a piece of annotative text, it will move all the sizes of text. If you use the grip on the annotative text, it will only move the size that is associated with your current scale. Okay, so let's do that one first, and then we'll come back for rotate. So in sheet 1, let's say, let's see which one I should use. Let's say this bedroom, which also shows up here. Let's say I want to center that text a little bit more. It's kind of off to the side. I'll double click inside this viewport. I'll select the text. Notice how it's selected in both viewports. And if I use the move command and enter, it will move both of them. So I'm just going to center that. Okay. So this one looks good. This one, for some reason, looks a little bit off. If I just want to move one piece of text, I can select it and use the grip to move it. Notice how it leaves the other piece behind, right? So using the grip only moves a single piece, and it's the one that's associated with this current scale. So that is what this one means. Move command moves all sizes, grip moves one size at a time. Okay. Then let's go over rotate. Rotate command rotates all sizes of text. Properties rotates one size at a time. So let's take a look at that one. Let's say, it's not too bad, but let's just say this bathroom, which is also in this viewport. Let's say I want to rotate this one 90 degrees. If I use a rotate command, RO enter, pick a base point, rotate 90, it's rotating both of them. So rotate command rotates both of them. Let me undo, Control Z. So let's say this one is fine. I want to keep it right here in the middle, but I want to rotate that one 90 degrees. I can select it, and then I can go to properties. And in properties, I have a rotation under the text category. I have rotation. Here, I can type 90, enter. Notice how I'll only rotate just a single piece of text. CAD Masters offers online and classroom training for a variety of Autodesk software. For more information, go to www.cadmasters.com or give us a call at 925-939-1378.